Welcome to Good Talk English Podcast. We are Omar and Lena, and we are here to help you improve your English through interesting conversations and fascinating topics. In each episode, we talk about culture, science, technology, history, daily life, and much more. So relax, listen, and learn English naturally with us. Let's begin.
You have exactly 4,000 weeks on this earth.
Yeah, it really doesn't sound like a lot when you say it out loud.
Right. I mean, that is your entire lifespan. And if you're listening to this right now, a massive chunk of those weeks are already gone.
Just completely vanished.
Exactly. So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to examine this small, seemingly harmless object sitting right in your pocket. Or, maybe it's even in your hand at this very second.
Which is pretty likely, honestly.
Yeah, and we want to look at how it might be quietly draining your existence. We're pulling from a really hard-hitting video today.
It's from the YouTube channel Masked, or The Masked.
Right, and the video is titled, Your Phone Steals Your Life and You Don't Notice. And it opens with that just, raw, arresting math. 4,000 weeks.
It's brutal.
It sounds like the number of unread emails you might have sitting in your inbox, not the absolute totality of your time on this planet.
It completely dismantles that comforting illusion we all carry around, We just operate under this default assumption that we have this vast, endless ocean of time stretching out ahead of us.
Left we have all the time in the world.
Exactly. But when you break an average 80-year lifespan down into weeks, it shrinks. It turns into this very countable, very finite little jar of marbles.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
And the source points out a statistic that genuinely hits like a punch to the gut. By the time you reach the age of 18, a full 1,000 of those weeks are already gone.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because framing life in weeks rather than years, it completely changes the texture of how we view time.
It really does.
I mean, a quarter of your life just vanishes into the rearview mirror before you've even figured out how to pay taxes or, who you really are.
Right. You burn through 1,000 weeks just navigating middle school and learning algebra.
Yeah. So suddenly, every single remaining week feels incredibly heavy.
Well, it creates this stark sense of scarcity. Psychologically, when we perceive something as scarce, our evolutionary wiring tells us to protect it.
We hoard it.
Exactly. We are supposed to guard those remaining 3,000 weeks with our lives. But the paradox at the center of this source is that we are doing the exact opposite.
We're just giving it away.
We aren't protecting this finite resource at all. Most people today walk around with this chronic, nagging sensation that their time is just evaporating.
Oh, absolutely.
They blink and a month is gone. They wonder how it's suddenly December again.
That feeling that time is literally speeding up as we get older. I mean, we all know that sensation.
Which is an illusion. The physical rotation of the Earth hasn't changed.
Right. A day is still 24 hours.
What has fundamentally changed is our state of being within those hours. The argument made here is that we are existing in this constant, unbroken state of distraction.
So we aren't really experiencing the time at all.
Right. The sensation of time accelerating is actually just the symptom of not being present for your own life.
Which brings us right to the glowing rectangle in the room, the smartphone.
Yeah. There it is.
And the source makes a really crucial distinction here that elevates this beyond your usual screen time lecture. We all know the guilt of a 3-hour doom scroll.
Oh, we've all been there.
But what the masked video exposes isn't just behavioral, right? It's structural. We often call the phone a time waster, but the video argues it's not merely stealing time, it is stealing your attention.
Which is huge.
And it positions human attention as something infinitely more valuable than money.
Because the economy of your life operates on attention. I mean, you can always negotiate for a higher salary or sell something or work extra hours to earn more money.
But you can't buy more hours.
You cannot manufacture more attention. Attention is the literal mechanism through which you experience reality.
Well, yeah.
If your eyes are physically looking at a sunset, but your mind is agonizing over an email notification, you didn't actually experience the sunset.
You were just physically there.
Right. You were physically present while your consciousness was hijacked and dragged somewhere else.
Think about the mechanics of your own day. Just today, how many times did you unlock your screen without even making a conscious, deliberate decision to do it?
Probably dozens of times.
Right. You feel a buzz, or you see a flash of light out of the corner of your eye. You open a short video entirely out of muscle memory, and then poof.
An hour of your life is just gone.
Just gone, completely unaccounted for.
And we have to be clear about the hardware itself here. The source is careful to point out that a smartphone, as an object, isn't inherently malicious.
Right. It's just a tool.
Exactly. It's a
Yeah.
brilliant piece of glass, metal, and silicon. It's entirely neutral.
But the digital ecosystem operating inside that glass is like anything but neutral.
What's fascinating here is the sheer scale of the engineering directed at your brain. Human attention has become the single most fiercely contested commodity on the planet.
It's an arms race.
We are talking about a daily, invisible arms race between the largest tech conglomerates in the world, and the ultimate prize they are fighting over is your focus.
And they have essentially unlimited resources to get it.
They aren't just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. They're meticulously designing every single interaction based on deep behavioral psychology.
Take the visual design, for example.
Mm.
There's a reason every single notification badge on your apps is alarm red.
Right.
They could have made those little bubbles a calming blue or, a pleasant green.
But red triggers a deeply ingrained evolutionary response. In nature, red signals urgency or danger or ripe fruit.
It demands that you look at it.
It demands an immediate visual orientation. When you see that red dot with a number inside it, your brain instinctively flags it as an unresolved tension that must be cleared.
You just have to click it.
They are leveraging millions of years of human evolution just to get you to open an app for one more minute. And as the video notes, that 1 minute is a Trojan horse for lost hours.
So I follow the logic, but I'm going to push back on this narrative just a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
Are we really supposed to view ourselves as completely helpless victims to tech companies here? Doesn't this just boil down to a massive societal lack of personal discipline?
That's the common argument.
Let's use an analogy. Let's treat our attention like a bank account. Your attention is your cognitive cache. Now, if you had a physical wallet stuffed with $100 bills, you would never just leave it sitting wide open on a park bench for anyone to walk by and grab.
Obviously not.
You'd guard it. But with our attention, we just leave the vault door wide open. We happily hand over our cognitive cache to every single ding, buzz, and red badge on our screens.
Right.
So at some point, shouldn't the individual take responsibility for guarding their own wallet?
That lack of discipline argument is incredibly common, but it severely underestimates the sophistication of the opposition.
Okay, how so?
Well, you are comparing it to leaving a wallet on a park bench, which implies passive negligence. A more accurate analogy is that you are walking into a state-of-the-art casino.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The architecture, the absence of windows, the specific frequency of the bells, the carpeting, every single element has been meticulously engineered by thousands of data scientists and psychologists to ensure you empty your pockets before you leave.
So it's an actively hostile environment for our willpower.
Exactly. These platforms employ a concept called variable reward schedules, which is the exact same psychological mechanism that makes a slot machine so addictive.
Like pulling a lever.
When you pull to refresh your feed, you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's nothing interesting. Sometimes it's a highly stimulating video or a message from a friend.
And that unpredictability is the hook.
That unpredictability creates a massive spike in dopamine. The brain becomes addicted not just to the content, but to the anticipation of the content.
That is so insidious.
You aren't just lacking discipline. You are an active, outgunned participant in an attention economy where your focus is the product being harvested and sold to advertisers. The deck is entirely stacked against your natural willpower.
Which introduces a much more insidious layer to all of this.
Yeah.
If we are constantly handing over our cognitive cache, hour by hour, day by day, what happens to the bank itself?
The vault starts to decay.
Exactly. Because the source transitions here from the theft of our time to something infinitely more damaging, the theft of our baseline capability.
The premise here is that this isn't a victimless crime where you just lose a few hours on a Tuesday and then bounce back to normal on Wednesday.
Right, there's a lasting cost.
The deepest theft occurring is the erosion of our actual biological ability to focus.
This is where the concept moves from behavioral to physical.
Yeah.
The claim in the masked video is that every mindless check of a notification, every time you swipe away a mild feeling of boredom to watch a 15-second video, you aren't just passing time.
You are actively, continuously training your brain.
You are conditioning your neural pathways to constantly require quick, effortless hits of stimulation.
It is neuroplasticity working against you.
Right.
Neuroplasticity simply means the brain adapts to whatever it does most frequently. It wires itself to become more efficient at the tasks it performs repeatedly.
So if you're always distracted, you get better at being distracted.
Exactly. If you constantly reward your brain with rapid-fire, highly stimulating, low-effort content, it structurally optimizes for that exact type of input. It physically prunes the neural connections required for deep, sustained thought.
Let's elevate that idea with an analogy about digestion. Think of those short 15-second videos as pure cognitive sugar.
Junk food.
They are total junk food that provides an instant rush of calories with absolutely zero digestive friction. Your brain doesn't have to work to process them at all.
Just absorbs it.
But if you feed your brain a strict daily diet of nothing but cotton candy, your digestive muscles atrophy. So when you finally sit down in front of a heavy, nutritious, multi-course meal like reading a dense philosophical book, or learning a new programming language, or writing a business plan, you physically lack the stamina to digest it.
The complex information requires cognitive friction.
And your brain just gives up and screams for the cotton candy.
This raises an important question regarding how we diagnose our own mental states. How often do people sit down to do hard work, feel that intense friction, and tell themselves, I'm just exhausted today, or I'm feeling unmotivated?
Or even, maybe I have an undiagnosed attention deficit.
Right. When in reality, their cognitive appetite has just been ruined.
They just don't have the muscles for it anymore.
Precisely. It isn't just about feeling a little easily distracted. It is a fundamental rewiring. The source is pointing out that we are actively dismantling our natural evolutionary capacity to do deep, meaningful work.
Wow.
Another mechanical example of this is the invention of the infinite scroll. Think about reading a physical magazine or a book. There are natural stopping cues built into the medium.
Right, a chapter ends.
An article concludes. You reach the back cover. These physical cues signal to the brain that an activity is complete, giving you a moment of friction to decide if you want to keep going or do something else.
But the infinite scroll explicitly removes those stopping cues.
The bottom of the feed never arrives. By removing the friction of turning a page or clicking next, the brain is never prompted to evaluate how much time has passed.
You just keep falling down the well.
You are seamlessly transitioned from one dopamine hit to the next. The cognitive digestive muscles you mentioned are never forced to engage.
And when you dismantle that ability to concentrate, when your brain structurally rejects anything that requires time, friction, and effort, the very shape of your daily life begins to alter.
It shrinks.
It begins to shrink. The source describes this bleak, repetitive daily loop that is going to sound uncomfortably, maybe even terrifyingly familiar to anyone listening right now.
It describes the modern Groundhog Day.
Yeah, you wake up, and before your feet even touch the floor, what's the very first thing you do?
You grab the phone.
You grab the phone from the nightstand, you check the messages, you scroll the feed, you get up, you work a little bit, but mostly you're just toggling rapidly between tabs and tasks, never fully submerging into deep work.
Just skimming the surface of your day.
Exactly. You scroll some more on your lunch break, you watch a string of short videos on the couch. The day ends, you plug the phone back in, you go to sleep, and then the sun comes up and you repeat the exact same loop.
Every single day.
And because there is no deep engagement, no challenging intellectual friction to anchor your memories, the days just blur together.
Tuesday feels indistinguishable from Friday.
And that blur is exactly how those 4,000 weeks slip away, completely unnoticed. You don't lose a life all at once in some grand dramatic crash.
No, it's insidious.
You lose it quietly in these repetitive microscopic loops of consumption.
The tragedy highlighted by the masked video here is profound. It's the creeping realization of waking up 10 or 20 years down the line and realizing you haven't actually been living your own life.
That is terrifying.
You have just been sitting perfectly still, quietly consuming the heavily edited lives of other people through a piece of glass.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because there is this deep, almost tragic irony baked into our relationship with the smartphone.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, we initially use it because we are desperate to feel connected.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know what's happening in the global culture, what our friends are doing, what the discourse is.
Right, it's a window to the world.
But the very mechanism we use for connection ultimately isolates us. It turns us into passive spectators of reality.
Oh, absolutely.
It's as if you were given a ticket to play in the most incredible stadium in the world your own life, but instead of getting down on the field, getting dirty and playing the game, you chose to sit all the way up in the highest, furthest bleachers.
Just watching.
You're just watching tiny, pixelated figures run around on the field below.
That bleacher analogy gets to the core of why this loop is so hard to break. Sitting in the bleachers is incredibly safe.
There's no risk.
When you are just spectating through a screen, nothing is really at stake. You don't have to risk the sting of failure. You don't have to navigate the awkwardness of a real social interaction.
Yeah, you can just swipe it away.
You avoid the immense, uncomfortable frustration of being bad at a new skill while you are learning it. If a video makes you slightly uncomfortable or bored, you just flick your thumb and it disappears. You have complete frictionless control.
But the cost of that frictionless safety is literally everything else.
Everything.
The source makes a really haunting point about memory and regret. 10 years from now, you will not remember a single one of the thousands of short videos you watched today.
They'll be gone.
They will be entirely erased from your biological hard drive.
But you will acutely, physically feel the pain of the alternative, the compounding weight of missed opportunities.
The things you didn't do.
The brilliant ideas you had in the shower but never started because you immediately picked up your phone. The relationships you let wither because you were physically in the same room but cognitively 1,000 miles away.
It is a life constantly postponed until later.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, all of these mechanics, the variable rewards, the neural rewiring, the infinite scroll, the spectator effect, it demands that we change the entire metric by which we evaluate our digital habits.
How so?
Well, we usually look at those little weekly screen time reports our phones give us. We see a number like 4 hours a day on social media, and we think, oh, I should probably cut down on my screen time to improve my productivity.
Which completely misses the actual stakes.
Yeah.
So if time management isn't the core issue here, we shouldn't just be asking how much time am I spending on my phone.
Right.
We should be asking how much of my life is actively disappearing inside it.
That is the exact paradigm shift the source demands. Life isn't some abstract philosophical concept floating out in the ether.
It's just time.
Life is constructed entirely from these individual, unrecoverable hours. Every single hour you surrender to the algorithm, every hour you spend in a state of frictionless scrolling, is a physical, irreplaceable marble taken from your finite jar of 4,000 weeks and handed over to a tech conglomerate.
That is a staggering way to frame it. It moves the conversation from simple time management to existential life preservation.
It's life or death, in a way.
We've thoroughly established the stakes here. We've looked at the very real threat to our 4,000 weeks, the intentional hijacking of our attention through variable reward,
The physical rewiring of our brains that destroys our capacity for deep focus.
and the structural shrinking of our daily routines into this passive, blurry spectator loop.
The diagnosis provided by the masked video is brutally clear.
So what does this all mean? What do we actually do with this heavy realization right now? Because thankfully, the source doesn't just drop this bleak reality in our laps and walk away.
It gives us a way out.
It delivers a very specific, fiercely urgent call to action.
And urgency is the absolute key to breaking the loop.
Exactly. The video says, do not wait for the perfect moment to change your habits.
There is no perfect moment.
The perfect moment is an illusion created by your brain to keep you in the safe, frictionless bleachers. Shut off the phone. Right now. Today.
Break the visual and physical circuit.
Start the project you have been endlessly putting off.
Yeah.
Pick up the instrument. Learn the language. Force yourself to do the difficult, high-friction thing that requires your actual, undivided, uncomfortable attention.
You have to reclaim your cognitive capability by aggressively using it.
Just like a muscle.
The only way to rebuild your brain's digestive muscles, to restore your capacity for focus, is to consistently demand it of yourself, even when it feels arduous.
And the source offers an ultimate warning that I think anchors this entire deep dive perfectly. As human beings, we spend so much of our finite time paralyzed by the fear of failing.
That's why we stay in the bleachers.
We don't start the business or write the novel or take the painting class because we are terrified we might be terrible at it. We are terrified we might fail publicly.
The fear of failure is the friction that keeps us scrolling.
But the masked video reminds us of something profound. Failing at a meaningful project is nowhere near the worst thing that can happen to you.
Not even close.
The true worst-case scenario, the actual terrifying tragedy of human existence, is waking up one day at the very end of your life, looking back at your empty jar of marbles, and realizing that your life simply passed you by while you were staring, hypnotized, at a glowing piece of glass.
It is the stark difference between a life truly lived in the physical world and a life merely observed through a digital keyhole. You only get one run at this existence,
You only get the 4,000 weeks.
and a significant portion of them are already gone.
They really are. The math does not pause for anyone. So, as we wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with one final brand new thought to mull over as you step back into your day.
I love this part.
We've spent a lot of time analyzing the massive billion-dollar machinery designed to steal your focus. We know that tech companies are employing thousands of the brightest minds on Earth, utilizing incredibly advanced algorithms, variable rewards, and evolutionary psychology, all to keep you passively glued to a screen.
It's a lot to go up against.
It is. But imagine, just for a second, what incredible, tangible things might happen if you took back just a fraction of that hijacked energy.
Even just 10%.
If you actively ripped your attention away from the algorithm and directed it entirely toward something that only you can create in the physical world. Consider this. What does your entirely beautifully unhijacked mind actually look like?
What are you capable of building?
Exactly. What are you capable of building when you finally step out of the bleachers and onto the field?